Good evening everybody and welcome back to Kent here at the magnificent Brands Hatch Indy circuit for round 8 of the Renault Mégane Trophy sponsored by PowerMax Racing here with NXTGEN. I'm Jack TM53, your commentator as usual, and quick apology about the delay in terms of the stream being ready and up and going. But unfortunately GT Sport has a wonderful tendency to update itself just on the day when our series is due to go. But nevertheless, the drivers are out on circuit in qualifying at the moment, and the drivers are already setting some lap times out on circuit. Duskiva currently provisionally leading the way on a 45.2, and Danzo rounding out the top 2 at the moment, but still plenty of time for the drivers to get laps in around this very quick circuit. We're expecting times in the low 45s, maybe even the odd 44 potentially as Duskiva goes quicker. But before we go into the action that's all happening around us on track at the moment, I'll have a quick scan forward to Big Mad as we don't cover him too much in qualifying. I'll run you through the championship standings, and boy are they close in Lobby 2. New championship leader Dud's CF14 leads the way on 216 points. He's got a 6-point gap back to D Hartley 79, who's second on 210. Alongside him on a 210 is NXTGEN Dominator 3. They both have the same points in joint second place. Fourth is KZ2 Haas. He's on 200 points, so only 16 back from our championship leader of Duds. Fifth place, Duskiva. He's on 181. He's currently provisionally pole at the moment in the qualifying session. He's certainly involved in the championship fight despite being 35 points back. He's certainly capable of getting in the mix for that championship with 3 rounds and 6 races still remaining. 6th in the championship is Danzo on 161. 7th is Big Madaz, who's just in front of Duskiva. As the minute is a bit of an awkward moment for Duskiva as he tried to go around through past the Paddock Hill Bend corner there, just as they approach the Druids. But yes, Big Mad has 7th on 156 points. 8th is Chalk 12 on 124. 9th is 1805 on 109. And round out the top 10 is Shadowstalker on 104. That is the top 10 in the Mégane Trophy at the moment. But the drivers, like I say, they've already had 4 minutes effectively of their qualifying session. Duskiva leading the way. Danzo having a good time of it there. He's still second on a 45.3. This Haas, one of the main 4 championship protagonists. I say 4, there are 5 realistically. You can't rule out Duskiva, but he's got a bit of work to do to pull back those 35 points, but he's definitely not out of it as D Hartley moves himself onto the front row. 45-1, bit of a cut going into Paddock Hill, not the ideal racing line through there. Danzo just got his hazard lights on as Haas in 4th, Duds in 5th, the championship leader. Big Madaz is 6th, Chalk 12, 7th place. Silver Fox 40 in that Sales Eye interactive car, he's 8th. Dominator running around in 9th position. Shadowstalker rounds out the top 10, and Greener Army nearly within 2 seconds of the cars in front. That's a really good showing in this opening half of the session. We'll actually get a lap on board. We'll go with Shadowstalker. We don't ride with Shadowstalker often, so here we go down towards turn number 1 at Paddock Hill Bend. Shadowstalker goes 5th. Good lap time that. Down into 4th gear at Paddock Hill. The car will dip down. Very elevated corner as he approaches the brakes now onto Druids. This should be 2nd gear for Shadowstalker, which he does. He clips the apex nicely up into 3rd gear. Rounds it over the AstroTurf with no problem at all. And then into turn 3 at Graham Hill Bend. Awkward corner to get right at times, but Shadowstalker doing well to hit the apex, and then comes into the half part of Surtees. A quick flip left, then right, and then down on the brakes into Clark Curve. A very, very quick lap we've just been on board with. Round that final corner he goes. Shadowstalker just being pushed down to 6th at present. He's taking a very wide line as he approaches the line, the finish line, that respect. That's a 45.8 from Shadowstalker, so not as quick as he had been. D. Hartley getting himself into the 44s. I said it was going to be possible in Lobby 2, and Hartley has proven that. 2nd in the championship, just 8 points behind Duds. Striking already. Striking very early on in this session. He's just got to try and get a bit of a gap really. Always follows Shadowstalker's line going out of Graham Hill Bend. Got to be careful he doesn't go around. Deskyver's coming towards the line. What's his lap time going to be? Looks like he's on a decent lap, but he's just not improved. He's 700th slower than his personal best. Haas is 3rd, Duds 4th. The top 4 drivers in the championship really getting involved in this qualifying session. They've been showing some speed, but a man who's been on form in qualifying all this season is really struggling. He's absolutely struggling through Clark Curve. That's too quick into the gravel trap. That's going to ruin that lap and the next one. Dominator down in 10th position. Comes back on the circuit. Danzo swerves out of the way to avoid him. Danzo doesn't improve on that lap. The whole field separated by 1.7. It's the closest Greener Army's been all season long. That's still a good showing. And the top 10 separated by 7/10 of a second as Duskiver reclaims pole position. Absolutely flying in that pink and white Zerkotech car. Good showing from him. From Duskiver. He's driving really well at the moment. Had a nice run in the championship recently. He's been picking up some really good results. And Duskiver wants to be aiming for race wins. If he wants to make an impression on this championship challenge, he's not far away, but still 2:20 to go in the session. It goes by very, very quickly at this circuit. Oh, he's just gone into the gravel trap at Clark's. That's going to catch a few drivers out. Haas goes quicker, so he goes up to 3rd. Chalk up to 4th. Got a podium last week, did Chalk, his first ever. He's on a personal best at the moment. He's going to have a nice slipstream from Shadowstalker if he can keep it on the circuit, but he can't. The driver's really pushing the limit. He's actually spun it coming out of Clark Curve. That's Chalk. Nice pirouette though. He has to crack on. He'll get another lap or 2. Greener Army coming towards the line. He doesn't improve. Dud's just coming through Graham Hill Bend. He's got Big Madaz not too far away. Luckily for the drivers, there's only 11 of them out on circuit, so track space won't be at a premium as it would be normally is. Dominator improves to a 45.4, but he's done a 45.4 and Duds is currently 5th place on a 45.3. And that's the difference between 4 positions at this present moment. So Dominator's got to dig deep if he wants to get in a prominent role in the championship. Really does need this. Does the Joyce Design driver. Just coming up towards Surtees now. Through that flick left and flick right. He's not improving. Let's have a quick scan around Shadowstalker. There in 7th. Greener Army goes quicker. Just a little bit quicker. Silver Fox 40. It's only half a second off the pole position lap time. So close around this circuit. But drivers now, they'll be approaching what will be their final laps of this circuit. So the first driver who will see the finish in terms of time, Big Madaz goes quicker. He does a 45.3, but not improving in position. The first driver looks like it's going to be Duskiver, actually. I think he'll be the first. Someone has given up on their lap. They've gone off. That's Danzo. So he's pulled off at Graham Hill Bend. That's it for him. So we'll watch Duskiver, because he will be the first driver to see the checkered flag Here he comes around Clark Curve. He's 2/10 down. He's not improving at the moment. Flicks it round that final corner. It's early on the front. Actually, someone else has just seen a checkered flag. It's a bit further up the road. But Deskyver doesn't improve. What about Big Madaz? Can he improve? No, not an improvement from him either. Duds doesn't improve. It's unfortunate for him. Chalk. He's got a car in front of him. That's Danzo, but we know Danzo's already given up on that lap. So can Chalk go any quicker? There's another car coming towards the line. They don't improve. So it would be Chalk next up. Will he go any quicker? He doesn't improve. Greener Army. Can he get within a second? Nobody improves again. Good rate of progress. Silver Fox 40 seen a checkered flag. What about Dominator? He needs this. And he stays 9th. So it's Deskyver who takes pole position then. Second pole of the season for Deskyver, and D Hartley will line up alongside as we go into the race. What a frantic race we're about to have here, ladies and gentlemen. Deskyver on the left hand side in that white and pink car. D Hartley, he lines up in second on the right hand side. 20 minutes are right there. Here come the numbers. And the race is live from Brands Hatch Indy. It's a difficult start in the background for Silver Fox 40, but Deskyver's got off the line well, as has D Hartley. Should be able to filter through, but Haas puts his car up the inside. Haas moves himself into second. Little bit of dust going off. That's Dominator backwards at the start. Joint second in the championship going into the round. He's already backwards in the gravel track. That's a disaster for him, but Deskyver won't even know about that. He leads the way. Haas is up to second. Then it's Hartley. Then it's Chalk. Then it's Danzo who's moved up a position at the start. Duds has gone down 1. Big Madaz is 7th. Silver Fox 40's in 8th. Shadowstalker 9th and Greener Army rounds out the top 10, but Dominator 3. What a disaster for him. He's got a lot of work to do. Deskyver will lead. Let's get all the camera options available for us. Cuts back to Dominator, who's cutting a very lonely figure as he goes through Clark Curve, but Deskyver leading the way. The top 6 having a good fight already. Danzo having to defend from Duds going into Paddock Hill Bend. And is this a chance for Hartley just a little bit further forward? He's on the inside at Druids. Haas tries to cover the inside, rather the outside line, but he's not going to get there. And D Hartley, he knows he's got a good opportunity here to make some points up on Duds. Gets past. So at present, D Hartley scoring 18 additional points in the championship. Haas with 15. You see Haas trying to track Hartley as best as he can. Coming out of Clark Curve, there's Chalk following well, and Danzo. Duds has got to try and get on with this. He's going to try and look to the outside, coming towards Paddock Hill Bend for lap number 3. It's on the outside line. Danzo will no doubt break a little bit later. Duds trying to go all the way around the outside. Good clean racing between the two. Danzo giving plenty of room. Duds going to have to try and go the long way around at Druids, but Danzo just blocks that line off and keeps himself in 5th place. So good racing between those two at the moment. Big Madaz in 7th. Oh, Danzo's got the line all wrong coming out of Grey Mill Bend. He's all over the grass. He's come back on. Thought for a minute he was going to hit Duds, but Duds should clear him, and he has done, going into Surtees. So the championship leader up to 5th place. Oh, awkward braking point for Danzo. Just slivered wide at Clark. Not the best line for him, and he's just dropped a little bit away from the cars in front. Big Madaz 7th place, Silver Fox 40 in 8th, Shadowstalker 9th, Greener Army running around in the top 10, and then Dominator. Let's have a look at Dominator's lap time. Not benefiting from the slipstream. It's in the 45s. He's going to have to hope he can bounce back in race 2. At the present moment, Deskyver has the front. He's got a gap of about half a second at present. D Hartley's there. And those two just getting away from KZ2 Haas, who's taking a little bit of time to wind up in this race. Chalk's there, following him in 4th. Duds in 5th place, and that is caught actually up to the back of Duds. So Danzo's certainly not giving up in this race, and they're both being tracked by Big Madaz. They're a ride on the sort of external camera on the back of the Méganes here. Danzo just keeping his line. Duds running a little bit deeper. Danzo looks to the inside, but Duds covers that move. Kicking up the dirt does Duds going through Druids. But he's just keeping himself behind. That's a chance for D Hartley. trying to go around the outside at Graham Hill Bend. Doesn't look like he's going to get there, and KZ2 Haas is going to sweep his way through and get second place. I think Duskiver and D Hartley, a bit of contact from Chalk. He's just throttled off a little bit just to make sure he doesn't take advantage. But I think Duskiver and D Hartley did a little bit of a mistake, just compromised the two of them. Not sure which one caused the mistake. I'm assuming Duskiver would have done. Oh, he's gone deep into the corner as Duskiver, just as I say that, and that's allowed the door to open for KZ2 Haas. We're on the floor camera of D Hartley, and Haas goes through up into first place. Didn't need a second opportunity to take that, did Haas? He went straight for it. And Duskiver just got to settle himself, get back into a rhythm and a routine again. He's driving well for the first 4 laps. Just a little mistake. Oh, Short going for a late lunge. He hits the back of D Hartley again. And look at Chalk. He's just trying to position his car. He's actually gone through on D Hartley. He's going to be up the inside, going towards turn 1 at Paddock Hill Bend. Is he going to brake later than him? He does indeed, and Chalk moves up to 3rd place. I think Hartley will be entirely impressed with that move. Did seem to be a little bit of a bump going into... Oh, there's a chance for Duds to go up the inside. And Duds moves into 4th place. The man who takes his opportunities every single time he's presented with them. Duds never afraid to go for a gap as he goes all sideways on the exit of Graham Hill's curb. But Duds is up to 4th place. This is bringing KZ2 Haas into the championship here. He's got a very good opportunity now that he leads the way. And the drivers will be thinking about that. It will be on their minds. But KZ2 Haas, he started 16 points behind. Duds has to defend from Hartley. Danzo's trying to look for a move at the inside, but nothing quite doing. Hartley's going to try and do the switch back on the inside. They rub door to door, and Hartley, as forcefully as he can, gets back in front of Duds. So D Hartley, obviously not pleased. A little bit of contact between himself and Chalk 12 before, has decided elbows out time. He wants to make sure he battles as best as he can. Going to be very interesting to see who takes the top 3 podium positions in this race. It's so close, just 3.5 seconds cover the top 7. Big Madaz has not quite had the raw speed, but because he's on his own and just tracking the slipstream, he's able to sit with the cars in front of him. Oh, Danzo sideways again going into Paddock Hill Bend, and Big Madaz just touches the gravel. He got away with that. He's fortunate to do so. Duds just phasing a little bit coming through Druids. He's on the outside going into Graham Hill Bend, but he's picked up a penalty. So not ideal for the championship leader. Got a nice run coming out of the corner, but he's just trying to clear it. Oh, Danzo saw an opportunity. Duds still hasn't been able to clear it. He's left a little bit of an opening for Danzo, but Danzo just didn't have the momentum to pull himself alongside Duds. Big Madaz is right there. Silver Fox 40 is 8th. Shadowstalker 9th. Dominator's up to 10th. Green Army just running around in 11th. Haas still leads the way. Duskiver, who led the opening portion of this race, is just behind him currently. For these two at the front, they've got just under a second gap to Chalk. And if those two can work together, they can pull away and start fighting later on. That's the tactics that those two need to take at this moment. Because they won't want Chalk to go with them. Chalk not had a race win this season. Had his first ever podium, as I mentioned earlier on, but hasn't had that debut win. And they're just starting to extend the gap. You can see the gap's just gone over a second now. There's Hartley. Seems to have pulled away from Duds. Duds having a bit of a scrappy lap there in relation to D Hartley, who pulled 6/10 on him. And Danzo and Big Madaz. You can just see Silver Fox 40 and Shadowstalker in the background. And the recovering Dominator. It'll be quite hard for him to catch this group of cars, but don't rule anything out in this championship. It always throws up a nice fight, and we've got one of those right now at the front. Duskiver riding on board with him. He can see KZ2's trying to use different lines. Personal best for Duskiver, that last lap, a 45 flat. Just goes and does a 45.2. Haas defending. almost into Paddock Hill Bend. Chalk's about 1.3 back, and this is the gap that these two need as Haas goes deep into Druids. Just need to work together in this next few minutes, really, just to try and pull the gap to Chalk, because D Hartley's going to be putting the pressure on Chalk now. He knows that he needs to try and gain another couple of points on Duds. Oh, Chalk is absolutely sideways. This is the opportunity that D Hartley needed, and there's contact, and off goes Chalk into the gravel trap. I think Chalk tried to cover the line and he wasn't able to do it. He goes off into the gravel, but Duds gets through as well. I think Chalk just clipped the curb, went too sideways and tried to come right back across, and unfortunately Hartley was there. Don't think that's just a racing incident in my own opinion. But D Hartley closing the gap onto Duds in the championship. They were separated by 6 points going into this race. It will now be 4 points. But Hartley will want more. Haas has gone off as well. We haven't seen it, but Haas has gone off somewhere on this lap, and Duskiver leads the way. So Duskiver, claiming what he will believe to be rightfully his own, has 1.4 to the good. Haas losing a couple of points in his quest to get fully involved in this championship battle. Start of the race 16 behind Duds at this present moment. He's gaining 5 on him. But he's going to have Hartley behind him now, and Hartley is hungry for more points. Chalk's in 5th place. Duds will probably just be watching what's going on ahead of him, the championship leader. He just needs to stay with them. Just needs to keep them in line, just in case they make a mistake, so that he can take an advantage of it, because he's been doing that all through a race. Any opportunity he gets, he'll be there. There's a sort of stream back to Big Madaz, Danzo, Silver Fox 40, Shadow Stalker. There's Dominator. Incredibly, Dominator only 12 seconds behind. He's been catching Shadow Stalker in his last few laps. Just looking at the lap times between the two, a 45.9, a 45.7 on that lap, and a 45.3. So Dominator is closing the gap. He'll have time to catch and potentially pass Shadow Stalker, but it's going to be a big effort. It's going to have to be. Duds actually coming under pressure from Chalk at the moment. Oh, Duds going wide, as did Chalk coming out of Graham Hill Bend. Big Madaz again, just moving up through the positions is Big Madaz as he goes just over the grass at Surtees. Big Madaz just keeping his nose clean, and that's proving to make him some big dividends here. You know, started at the lower reaches of the top 10 in 8th, and he's moved himself up to 6th as a result of mistakes around him. What can he do in the remaining 8 minutes of this session? Chalk just on the back of Duds. This will be awkward for Duds, because Chalk is more than happy to make a lunge where he needs to. Need personal best from Chalk going through Sector 1. Nice line as well through Graham Hill Bend, but Brands Hatch Indy is not an easy circuit to make an overtake on. And Lobby 2 is proven to be eventful, but there's no ferocity of overtakes that we've seen at other circuits this season. But Chalk is putting the pressure on. It's one of those tracks where one mistake can drop you down a few places. New personal best from Chalk. He's just filling Duds' mirrors. Just cut a little bit further forward because D Hartley is on the back of KZ2 Haas. D Hartley with the fastest lap so far in this session, so that's an extra point to net for him. I don't think he'll complain at having an extra point in his championship fight. Will gain him 3 on Duds. That means there'll be 3 between them going into the next race tonight. Don't forget that'll be streamed shortly. Race 2. Full reverse grid, but this is the closest we've seen Hartley to the back of Haas. Can he put him under pressure going into Paddock Hill Bend? Haas just moves across into the middle of the circuit. D Hartley trying to take a wider line. Nice entry, nice exit. Can he make a late lunge? No, Haas has that covered off. And these two have enough of a gap to Duds behind to start fighting now. 2 seconds. Duds seems to have just repelled Chalk for the time being. Madaz, Danzo all together. There's Silver Fox 40. and Shadowstalker, who's now under pressure from NXTGEN Dominator. Gotta be careful as Dominator. He knows that he needs to make as many points up here as he can because he's losing at present 13 to the championship leader. He'll be 19 behind going into race 2. Just watching the cars. Oh, I think Hartley's right on the back of KZ2 Haas, a fourth. Haas have gone into the gravel then. Gone to that track map indicator in the top right of your screen. The drivers. At present, just about. Let's see what Hartley can do as he looks towards that outside line. Trying to make a move if he can. Oh, Haas has gone into the gravel trap, and that's the opportunity Hartley needed. Haas is into the wall. Here comes Dodds. He's going to swing to the outside. He takes the position. That was the mistake that Hartley had been pressuring towards for some time. That was all he needed. Through he went, and Haas drops to 4th. Not what he needed in any way, shape or form. It's unfortunate for him. But now Haas has got to try and recover, regroup, and try and get a new plan together because Dodds is gaining points on him. And this is what I've been saying all through the last few races this season. Since the second half of the championship started. That's a chance for Chalk. He's looking to go up the inside, is he? Can he go towards Drew? He can't quite get there. Had a little look, did Chalk. He just couldn't quite make it stick. But as I was saying about Dodds, this is what he does. He's exceptionally good at just waiting for his right moments. He's really brought his game onto a new level this season. Has Dodds. Not getting involved in incidents, just keeping his head down and driving around. And he's up to 3rd now. It's going to take a mistake from one of the two in front of him to get up to 2nd or 1st. But from starting 5th, dropping down to 6th and then coming back to 3rd, he'll be very happy if he can keep it. Haas won't be very happy because look at Chalk. He's looking to the outside lines. They come towards Paddock Hill Bend for the 22nd time of asking. Chalk didn't quite get the line he wanted. So he has to filter behind that red 3M car. There's Big Madaz, there's Danzo. Danzo just sat in 7th. It's anyone's guess, ladies and gentlemen, who could win this race 2. When we go on to it in a few minutes' time, it's going to be very difficult to predict because a number of drivers who are lower down, like Dominator and Shadowstalker, are certainly capable of throwing up a result, and that's Dominator around at Graham Hill Bend. And unfortunately for Dominator, his mistakes in the second half of the season are just creeping in more and more, and unfortunately it's left him down in 10th. Just looking at the gaps at the moment, everyone else is seemingly okay. Big Madaz is now, for the first time in this race, putting some real pressure on the cars in front of him. Grown into this race has the Master Vault car. He's right there now. Danzo's trying to put the pressure on him too, so a difficult situation for Big Madaz. Look at Danzo, he's trying to look to move to the inside, but he can't quite get there. Big Madaz just taking a slightly wider line and then firing it out of the corner. Car's line astern for 3rd. As they come into Paddock Hill Bend again. Haas with a big wiggle in front of everyone. Going to be very, very interested to see if Dodds can hold on. Look at Chalk trying to go for a switch back at Druids. Not quite pulled that one off. But he's really giving it his all. Like another podium, but it's going to take something special to get through. Look at Haas, he's putting the pressure on. He was slowed by Dodds. Dodds has run a little bit deep. Dodds under pressure. 1.5 minutes effectively to go in this race. You're looking at effectively 3 laps for these drivers. Look at the slipstream that Haas has got, but he just can't make a lunge. Chalk's in a similar position. Crikey, this is exceptionally close at the moment. Big Madaz is following. Danzo's right behind with a bit of a wiggle out the corner. I think Shadow Stalker's made a mistake somewhere. He's gone backwards. But this is the fight to keep a focus on, because look at Haas doing everything he can. He knows how important those championship points are. But Duds equally will know that if he can just outscore Haas here, it'll just make it even more difficult for Haas to get back in that fight and rule out another contender. But look at Haas, he's trying to go to the outside line going into turn one. He tried to do the switchback. Would have been impressive if he pulled it off, but not quite. Penultimate lap then for these drivers. And into Druid again. Chalks all over the back of Haas. Big Madaz just waiting to pick up the pieces if it all goes wrong for the drivers in front. One mistake is all it takes, and look at the chance. Haas is right on the inside. He's trying to look towards Surtees, but he can't get a break. He's just sat there in behind that bright orange fast car. One lap to go. Duskiver has just started it, the race leader. You can see Chalk as well tracking these two. D. Hartley's up. That's a chance for Haas. Here comes Haas. He's been looking for it all the way through. Can he go up the inside to Druids? Ronnie on board with him. He's gone up the inside and he's gone through. So Haas snatches it back. Duds is trying to do his best on the exit of Druids, but he's not quite there. So he has to slot into fourth position. Haas doing what he needed to do right at the last. Big Madaz, everyone else is there as well. I'm just going to cut away because Duskiver, we haven't seen much of him in the second half of the race, is going to come round to win race one at Brands Hatch in round 8. Brilliant drive from him. He takes pole and the race win. D. Hartley, good race for him. Good championship points needed for that one. Haas is going to lead home the train for third position. He takes that podium spot. Duds is 4th. Chalk 12 is 5th. Big Madaz 6th. NXTGEN Danzo 7th. Fox was 8th, Shadowstalker 9th, Dominator 3 was 10th, and Greener Army rounded it all out. But what a fabulous race that was. It's Duskiver who wins race 1, round 8 here at Brands Hatch. Well deserved, put in a really good effort. Fabulous to watch. Well, we are going to have an exceptionally fascinating second race in a few moments time. I'm going to end this stream for race 1 and I'll be back in a few moments for race 2. Apologies about no sound during the earlier stages of the race. Sadly, not quite sure what happened there. Had a few toggles about with a few settings during the stream, managed to get it in the end. But nevertheless, do join us shortly for Lobby 2 of the Mégane Trophy.